so I can get.
Go ahead. We're recording now.
Okay, so Jackie, I'm going to be calling you. And that way, if you have something to say, you can just stay on the line and convey it. I have you on speakerphone.
Okay, that works.
Very good. All right,
Okay.
let's do that. All right, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order.
Mr. Edwards.
Here.
Mrs. Grant.
Here.
Mr. Palomo.
Here.
Mrs. Salee.
Here.
Mrs. Smith.
Here. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as it's been presented with one addition? We're going to have a report from Adam Shear under the superintendent's report and or recommendations. So I need a motion to approve that addition to the agenda.
I move.
Is there a second? Second by Dora. We'll have the roll, please.
Mr. Edwards.
Yes.
Grant.
Yes.
Mrs. Salee. Mr. Palomo.
Yes.
Mrs. Smith.
Yes. Very good. Having received the minutes from Mike previously, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting for November?
I move.
Moved by Kent. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dora. Any discussion? Mike, we'll have the roll, please.
Mr. Edwards.
Yes.
Mrs. Grant.
Yes.
Mr. Palomo.
Yes.
Mrs. Salee.
Yes.
Mrs. Smith.
Yes. Very good. We'll move on to Steve with all of his audience there. We're going to have a good report.
Yeah, my wife's gone, so I got two of my girls here. Say hi, girls.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, we're really kind of in a slow time right now. I don't want to say it's slow. It's just we're gearing up for everything that will be happening in the spring and the summer, early summer, with our uploads. We did meet last week. So we have our December monthly meeting in. Financials have been taken care of. Really no epicenter uploads right now. School improvement plan stuff had been done. So at this point, it's kind of just smooth sailing, but preparing for what we have to do here in the springs. So really not much to report on. So if there's any questions, feel free to ask.
And you had met last week, right, Steve? You
Correct.
met with us. And
Yes. Yep. Our monthly meeting, and there we talk about epicenter tasks and deadlines. We also talk about, other different items and so forth. The majority of that conversation last week dealt with blended learning and then the deadlines that we have to meet going forward here in the next few months.
okay, are there any questions for Steve? All right, hearing none. Thank you, Mr. Keller.
Thank you. Appreciate it, everybody.
We appreciate you. Very good. All right, we'll move on to our board members' liaison reports. Under the president report, I'm going to hold things until a little bit later in the meeting when Adam is talking. I've met various times throughout the last month with Jeff and Adam regarding our contract with the sponsor. So we'll reserve that for a little bit. Under legislative report, we know that we're in the lame duck session. There isn't a whole lot going on. So we just really need to be prepared for what's to take place as the budget is going to be presented. Under finance report, I know, Jackie, you've had a chance to have some communication with Mike at this point. Is that correct? Okay.
We just connected here, I would think just the other day.
Okay, very good. So hopefully between now and the next board meeting, maybe the two of you might be able to meet even virtually. So he can go over some of the reports and be sure that you have a good understanding of the data that he's presenting then, if you don't mind.
No, that would be great.
Okay. Personnel, Israel, do you want to make a report as to where we are right now?
No, I have nothing.
Okay. Professional development, Dora or Jeff?
I have nothing at this time.
We are
Okay.
looking into some professional development related to trauma. And we have an admin meeting this Thursday. So we may bring that topic up and see what our options are. I know we've looked at a number of different options, but haven't locked in on any one at this point in time.
Okay. Had you or anybody on the admin team attended any of those trauma-informed workshops by ODE?
Tara Kaiser had attended. I think it's the same one that you had watched. It was
Okay.
a webinar on a Saturday. Yeah, I think Tara
Yeah,
watched that one.
Yeah, okay, very good. Yeah, it was all day. All right, very good. And Kent, did you have anything at this point to report?
No, I don't.
Okay. Ken, I do know that Jeff and you will have some opportunity to meet again on this sponsor contract that we need to discuss. So that will be happening after probably the first of the year.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. We'll move on to the treasurer's report.
All right. Let's see, I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Hey, Dave, can you allow me to share my screen?
You're muted. Okay, you got the thumbs up. All right.
Okay. Let's see here. Can everybody see this, or does it need zoomed in?
Good on my
Zoom-
end.
Yeah, maybe Zoom, just there you go.
That helps?
That's better.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so we got the November reconciliation here. We're at 1.77 million. A couple things I want to point out moving into the check register is we have a couple of our grants that we spent large portions of. So right here we bought Chromebooks with both of these, just so everybody knows. So we got almost 56,000 in Chromebooks here. And then if you come down here, we have 110,000 in Chromebooks. We have quite a few Chromebooks coming in soon. The reason I'm pointing this out, one, just so you guys realize that this is grant money. Two, is that when we look at this reconciliation, this is our cash reconciliation of each month. So this is all funds. This is one thing I want you guys to be aware of. And I don't know if I've ever really explained this. This is all funds. So essentially what's going to happen here is that this 1.7, we're actually going to get the reimbursement of these grant that were expended here. So these, when you look at the check register is actually all funds. So just keep that in mind, that actually we're going to get reimbursed for these grant monies that we have spent. Other than that, we got another VAL billing. These are kind of quarterly or whenever new students are enrolled. So it's not a ton. I did want to let you guys know, I guess this is looking forward, but I'm just kind of excited about it. We did pay off the building. That's officially done. Diane sent me an email, and moving forward, these bills are going to be cut in half essentially. So that's going to be a large savings for us as well. Was there any questions on the check register of anything I didn't point out?
Mike, I just wondered under Firefly computers there, that's for the Chromebooks then.
Yep, the Firefly, both of these were for Chromebooks. They were two different grants that we used.
Right.
So that's why they're two different checks, but they're all Chromebooks.
Okay, very good.
We are
And just to tag team on that, Gene, Firefly is a recommended vendor by ODE.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yep. Moving on to the spreadsheet for November, everything's kind of on par for the month, there's not a whole lot to look at. The one thing I will say is we had a refund of a prior expenditure. This is a workers' comp refund that everybody got. So that's kind of the oddball here. But other than that, I think we're on pretty well target as far as expenses go, with where we're headed for the year. Overall, like I said, like this is going to go away. We've expended this. Capital outlay is a little over, but I mean, that's not a lot of money there. But in general, just so you guys are aware, I think that we're on target as far as expenses go with what was projected. Income, it kind of varies here, but as of right now, we're about where I thought we would be. So when looking back to last month when we talked about the 5-year forecast, I think we're on target for so far everything that's happened where we should be. That's about all I have for this. I just wanted to point out also that November we were at 646.7 FTE.
So Mike, I know we're talking about where we're expected, but our income is still less than what we're spending.
That's correct. Yeah. And it's going to be like that for the remainder of the year. I mean, that's something that we need to remember looking forward. We are going to bring in less money for the rest of the year than what we're spending. And that's basically due to the fact that, we had that much higher FTE for July, August, and September that was adjusted later on. So we kind of knew this was coming. So I guess when I say that, you're going to see this probably every month from here on out. But just know that our overall balance is much higher than it was supposed to be. So we're kind of looking at this as, where do we need to end up, or where did we anticipate to end up had our funding been where it was supposed to be for the whole year. And as of right now, with what we're being funded and what we're reporting, I think we're on pace for right where we should be.
Okay.
Any other questions on November? Okay, I did throw in the month of December payment here as I normally do. A couple things, we did have some reporting issues with Dazzle for our career tech funding, and we did contact them. We're aware of it. They're aware of it. Once we get it fixed, you can see this negative, I just highlighted it, negative amount here. That means basically we didn't report any career tech funding students for the last month because there was some sort of glitch we're working out with Dazzle. This is going to be corrected. ODE is aware of it. We've made several phone calls to them. We're aware of it. So this will be corrected. But for the month of December, they did take that money back because they basically take the data from EMIS we submit. Another thing I wanted to show is that we are still getting these deductions as of now. Like I told you, moving forward into January, I expect those to be gone. And if anything, hopefully it reversed. So we will keep our eye on that and wait for the January payment. FTE for, too far. FTE for December, we're looking at 622.94. And that's all I got unless anybody has any questions.
Hearing no questions, is there a motion to approve the treasurer's report A through C?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, well, Jackie on the books is the second. There you go, Jackie. All right. Any questions? Any discussion? We'll have the roll, Mike.
Mrs. Grant,
Yes.
Mrs. Solis, Mr. Palomo,
Yes.
Mr. Edwards,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith.
Yes. Very good. We'll move now to the reports, and we'll begin with Adam. Adam, are you on?
Yes.
Okay, very good. We'll let you go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, and I'll be fairly brief, but glad to take some questions. The reason that I was asked to come in is I wanted to talk to everybody about what to expect regarding the sponsorship contract. As you guys may be aware, I know some of you are relatively new board members, but in order to operate as a community school, you have to have a valid sponsorship contract with a sponsor. In this case, your sponsor is Margaretta Local School District. That contract is up at the end of this school year. And so we filed an application for renewal. I don't think it's been formally announced, but that renewal has been granted for a 2-year term that's tied to the sponsor's contract with the state that it has to renew. Otherwise, we probably would have gotten a longer term. And this week we received redlined, or I'm sorry, not redline versions, but draft versions of the agreement, and a request for a whole bunch of exhibits that go into it. It's kind of a process to put together. So we are putting all of those items together. My hope is that we'll have the terms of the contract distributed to the board for review by tomorrow, and the vast majority of the exhibits over to the sponsor this week. The one exception may be the education plan, which based on changes to the school's operations, will require significant overhauling and quite a bit of thought. But my goal would be to distribute that to the board here this week, and you guys will have an opportunity to review, and you can ask me questions, and it may be a good opportunity for me to walk you through some aspects of the agreement for ultimate consideration at our January meeting. And I think we're working with, I'm working closely with Jeff and Jean on that, and also with counsel for the sponsor. And let's see, Jean, is there anything else you wanted me to add on that?
I think just the fact that that's what we want to bring Ken in on,
Right.
those discussions as well, as a liaison to the sponsor. And then also just to let the board know, we're well within the confines of the deadlines that are required. I know Margaretta, Steve, I think is going to talk about this at their board meeting this next week.
Yes, that is correct.
And we felt that rather than us to take a vote tonight, we wanted to be sure that you had a chance to look at things. So Margaretta is going to consider this at their board meeting, and then we will consider it again in January after the sponsor has approved it. Anything else that you would add, Steve, on that?
No, you are very accurate with what you said.
Okay. Anything else, Adam?
No, not on that.
Okay. Are there any questions from the board at this point in time? All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead, and thank you, Adam, for joining us tonight. I appreciate that.
Of course.
All right, we'll move on, Jeff, then to our action item, or our item B under your report.
Sure. We have two items we'd like to recommend to the board tonight. The first one is the awarding of high school diplomas to the students that are so listed. The second one is a recommendation to approve what we call locally defined diploma seals per Ohio Revised Code. What's going on here is state law introduced new long-term graduation requirements for Ohio students. Students in the classes of 2018 through 2022 have the option to meet the new requirements, or they can meet the current requirements. Now, starting with the class of 2023, all students must meet these new requirements. Now, I'm not going to get into detail a whole lot about the new requirements, but there's one particular area, and they're called seals. Kind of like an endorsement on a certificate. These are seals. There's a military seal, a technology seal, a Ohio industry recognized credential seal, Ohio means jobs readiness seal, and so on. And then, so 8 different seals that the state has put forth guidelines to follow for students to earn those seals. Then there are 3 others that are what we call locally defined diploma seals. And we, as a board, pick one of those to use as one that we can offer locally. And the one that surfaced very strongly was the one in community service. So that's the one that we're recommending that the board approve and otherwise adopt as a seal that our students can use. And that could start with this year's class for the remaining graduates. They could use that. Or as I said earlier, they can use the current existing requirement. But it's just another option, at least for now, until we get to the class of a couple more years. We'll be at the class of 2023. Sounds so far away, yet so close. But anyways, that's what that's about. If anybody has any questions, we'll be happy to address those.
You might, under the information that Jeff had sent us, the table of contents of that Each Child Our Future lists what those seals are. And then it, when it talks about the locally defined seals, it discusses the community work experience or senior work experience versus the community service. Jeff, I'm thinking you probably picked the community service because so many of our students are already working with jobs.
Yes.
And that would not count because that work experience has to be unpaid.
That I don't know. I'd have to look into.
Okay.
Is that what it's saying?
Well, if I put my glasses on, I might know. Yeah, no, I'm not really sure that it does. Tara, do you know?
What we're looking for is that's guidance from the state for a work experience or community service. The work experience piece actually comes into play for past graduates. We've used that, and we have utilized our CBI program for that. But what we're looking for these seals is just using this recommendation of the community service side of it. So it would not be for paid experience.
Okay, very good. Are there any other questions or comments from anyone? If not, is there a motion to approve both those recommendations in terms of the high school diplomas as well as approve the locally defined diploma seals specific to community service? Is there a motion to that effect?
I move.
Moved by Kent. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Israel. Sorry, Jackie, I didn't get you in soon enough.
No problem. No problem.
Is there any discussion? Yeah, any discussion? All right, we'll have the roll, Mike.
Mr. Edwards,
Yes.
Mr. Palomo,
Yes.
Mrs. Salee, Mrs. Grant,
Yeah.
Mrs. Smith.
Yes. At this time, I would ask that I would ask for a motion to move into executive session to consider the employment of public employees. Is there a motion to that effect? Moved by Dora. Is there a second? Second by Jackie. Any discussion? All right, we'll move into executive session at this time then. Mike, you record the time.
Got it.